Oh, you're going to stand in the middle. I'm going to stand over here. Is
That's
that how it's going to work?
That's how exactly this is going to work.
All right, go ahead.
Because I am the champion. Welcome back. Those of you just tuning in, final score, the Necrons, 81 to a Grey Knight. Was it 61?
61.
61. The champ is here. As I hold it off camera.
Keep it on camera.
Keep it on camera. So now we unveil the championship. Now this will get some work. I want to make modifications. But the cool little things of the title, we have the ability to, we have the Necron plates on the side and for added effect, it spins.
Now with motion.
Yes, this is it, the championship. First champion. I think it's fitting. I think it's fitting that the first champion on the channel should be me.
Okay.
But
have you had enough time in the spotlight now? Can I come back onto the...
Yeah, you can go back in here now.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks.
So, this is the sad part. This is actually designed from a child's toy, and I can actually put this thing around my waist.
Do you want me to put it on for you?
No, I did it myself. Thank you.
Belt?
Thank you. All right. Now, let's talk Warhammer. So, Necrons are victorious. Very bloody matchup. Very close matchup. And, yeah, that was tight. So, and I am very, very curious to hear your thoughts on the Grey Knights and playing the Grey Knight army.
Oh, they're really good. And this match was kind of tricky because their damage output isn't great into Wraiths. Nothing's damage output is great into Wraiths, but they were pretty good in everything else because early on, I put my Terminators out there and the Purifiers out there, and they got wrecked pretty bad. And then the Terminators is just tied up for the rest of the game, getting chewed on until they disappeared. But just the 5 Dread Knights surviving did a decent amount of damage in terms of, by the end of the game, you had a couple baby characters, not like beatstick characters. I think 3 characters left on the table, and then
both the Techno and both Psychos, yeah.
Yeah, and then one of the Doomstalkers. So I did manage to come back in terms of just damage output, but I didn't position myself very well, so I was off of primaries, which can be a trick for Grey Knights sometimes. There have been a couple of games where I held you back on primaries because Grey Knight's big thing is the deep strike, the uppy downy, but if you can get on objectives, they can't deep strike onto the objectives. So it was kind of tricky there. I probably didn't take full advantage of the uppy downies as much as I should have, but they're fun to play. And you know, the Dread Knights have a very consistent damage output. So
they really do. It's like when even if you with 6 shots, you're going to hit with something. And once they start going through, that flat 3 damage is huge, as we see with the Doomstalkers too, in that flat 3 damage. Yeah, early on in the get-go, I saw the opening to really run up the scoreboard. And when you first put the Terminators down on the Omega objective, I got scared. I got very concerned because I know how durable those Terminators were. So I literally had to send everything I possibly could into them to get them, basically keep them at bay. I had to keep them at bay, high OC, high everything. I had to keep them under control to be able to get into the situation was. At the end of the game, you still held the Omega objective at the last turn. Oh, excuse me. There was no way for me to stop you because of how long it took for me to get through the Terminators. Like, I was able to hit them and hit them and hit them, but they're still super durable. They're still super tough.
Yeah, the fact that the fact that one pops back every turn with the Apothecary Terminator in there is strong. But you have a lot of dev wounds in the army, and like I mentioned off camera, you only have one Doomstalker that really got to shoot at him, and he picked up 4 of them. If you got 2 or 3 of them onto that squad, they would have been in a lot of trouble.
Yeah,
because the Doomstalkers get in the blast, and it's Canoptic Court, so they always reroll all their hits, and they're wounding them on 2s. It's very consistent again in terms of damage output. So
yeah, that was definitely a big part of it. You scared me about how much of the Dread Knights came back. If this was a mission where the home field objectives were points, that would have been also too, and that's a big part of it. You know, I mean, the mission, the objective markers going away can be a blessing and a burden, you know, and usually Grey Knights actually play this mission very strong because, like you said, you can deep strike. So it's like wherever that objective is, like, okay, I can play on that. And you did. You were Terminators right down on it and then push out the rest of the game. I just had, and that was what I had to do. I had to hit everything in there. And I did move out early. I moved the wraiths out early, which is something I don't typically do. I covered the entire field very, very fast. Basically left my home field objective. I literally was almost in center field.
Yeah, I never pulled capture enemy outpost.
No, you didn't. You did not.
No, I did not. It's not that I would have swung the game too much more than a couple points, but I was back there ready for it.
I was at center field most of the game, and that's, basically put me in a shooting gallery for you to be picking me up. So, I mean, I knew I was going to lose a lot of models. I knew I was going to get really down to the wire on it. Just happy that it paid off to be able to score that many points off of center field. So, all in all, solid list, right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
But I am happy with the Necrons and their performance. They were able to handle Grey Knights in this capacity. And also, a lot of my tricks for both armies.
Yeah, definitely times when I was making sure you didn't do your counter move, staying outside of 9 inches, because there could have been times when you could have moved out of my ability to shoot you or made it more difficult for me. So I definitely was wary of that.
I will say one thing. One thing I said during the game was the Grand Master with a sword. He's usually the first one of my Dread Knights to die, because he ends up being more of a utility piece with the sigil and everything. Mm-hmm. So he ends up usually being the first one to die, and you didn't take a single wound. Or no, you took a little bit of damage on him, but he was alive to the end of the game.
Yeah, so, finished off a Sentinel in turn 5. So yeah, finished strong.
No, you definitely had more power on the board. I don't know if there would have been much of a change with it, considering the things like I backed off that last objective and was like, okay, let's just go score these points. And I went after the Grandmaster character instead of going after the Dread Knights on the last turn, which, killing the Grandmaster character instead of killing the Grandmaster or the Dread Knight. Yeah, he's not going to do as much. So that might have been if this, that, and the other. Didn't need to happen. 5 points for Assassinate. The kick is good. I'll take it. So, any closing thoughts on the Grey Knights after this matchup?
No, I can't wait to play my own army again.
And that's an awesome segue, because now we'll talk about what this means and what we're doing for the channel. Had such a good sound to it. Ugh. So, the way we have designed this thing, and I'm very proud of it, is we have these little plates that can be removed. I have my Necron plates on there right now, but these can be removed and replaced with any other army that should happen to win or challenge. So the next phase is, who will challenge next? Well, Lane will be the first one to challenge, and I know the idea is to get other people on the channel, and we will. But for the first game of the new Pariah Nexus, Lane will get to select one of his two, either Votan or Deathwatch, whichever one you feel you want to play, whichever one looks the most fun after all the dust settles, everything.
Well, I'll make that decision after we see what kind of balanced data slate updates we might get.
Exactly.
So there might be some changes to many armies, and as we're adjusting the new missions, because the next game will be with the new Pariah Nexus mission. So
there will be. I'm going to
listen. It's probably going to be Deathwatch, guys, but I want to see what the points are first.
Yes, but that's going to be. I'm giving Lane the first revenge match, title shot, with whichever army he chooses going into Necrons. I can't say it's going to be Canoptic Court, because it might, like we said, everything's going to be changing, everything's going to shift up. So it will be completely fresh, but it will be the Necrons versus most likely Deathwatch for this. And then afterwards, we'll see how things go. We'll try and get some other people on the channel as people are able to come out here and play more and actually participate and do these matchups and stuff like that. We'll have some number one contenders, and we'll be able to face off for this and be able to bounce this around and everything else. So I'm looking forward to what we're going to be able to do with this with the channel. I'm also looking forward to actually figuring out what I want to do with the spinning nameplate in the center. Yeah, that needs something. Like, it needs like the logo in it or something.
You can just put a dice on there.
Put a spinning dice.
Yeah.
That just spinning dice on its angle. Maybe that might be a good one. Anyone can let us know in the comments section. Right now, though, back it up so you can see this. This can be the closing image.
You want me to move off here? Yeah, it's all you, DJ.
It's all me. It's all me.
It's all for you.
Me. All about me today. Go right there. There, it's right there. All right. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon. You want to come say bye, Lane?
No, you're good. You can have it. It's all you.
Have a good night.